Okay, welcome to class, everybody. Okay, so what did we just finish talking about?
World War
Tanner.
World War One.
Really close. We actually did that a few weeks ago. We just got finished talking about World War II, but you were really close. And so the next major event after that is the Cold War. And so first off, we're going to see how World War II actually leads into the Cold War. So, does anyone know what this is a picture of? Yes, Tanner.
A nuke or nuclear bomb explosion.
A nuclear bomb. Yes, you're exactly right. What kind of observations can you make from this picture?
It's huge.
It's huge. Exactly. That's what I found out too. It's not just like a bomb that you see in the movies that like blows up someone's car or something. This was actually taken from an airplane that, well, one of their fellow airplanes dropped the bomb, and then this is another airplane that actually was there and took a picture of it. So they are hundreds of thousands of feet in the air as they're taking this picture.
That's crazy.
So that's pretty incredible, right?
That is incredible. Yeah.
And this is what the atomic bomb does.
Where is that?
This is in Hiroshima. So the United States has this weapon of mass destruction. But there's kind of a catch. Is that the United States is the only country with this technology. Was the United States the only country that won World War II? On the winning side?
No, not from what we talked about.
No? Yeah, from what we talked about, who were the Allied powers that won World War II?
Great Britain, France,
There's another big one.
Russia.
Russia, yeah, the USSR.
Soviet Union.
Soviet Union, exactly. So the Soviet Union doesn't have this technology. And so here we have some of the things. So this is what we talked about. The Manhattan Project was the project where they designed and created the atomic bomb. But Stalin was kept in the dark the whole time. And I don't know, do you think he liked being left in the dark? I mean, he's the other superpower besides the United States. In the United States, they're supposed to be allies, right?
Yeah, well, they were in World War II, so.
Right. But Stalin is kept in the dark this whole time. So tensions are kind of high between these. And then also something from World War II was in 1939, we talked about the non-aggression pact between the USSR and Germany. So it was that they weren't going to go to war together. But then, in 1941, Germany invades the USSR. So also, how do you think they feel about Germany, the USSR?
Not good.
Yeah, they don't really like them. They don't really like them. So we're going to see how these play out in the development of the Cold War. So, well, actually, first of all, let's talk about why is it called the Cold War as opposed to World War III or something like that, or the USSR-USA War or something like that. The Cold War.
It's cold in Russia.
It is very cold in Russia. But I'm not sure that's what they had in mind when they named it the Cold War. Well, it's called the Cold War because there was never actually any battles fought between the USSR and the United States. There were never any bombs exploded on either of those either of those countries or anything like that. So that's why they call it the Cold War. Because there was no heat, there was no fire and bombs and stuff. So, some fundamental differences between the United States and the USSR that also adds to this tension that created the Cold War. Capitalism versus communism. So as a review, capitalism is what? Anybody? Capitalism. Hint, it's what we have in the United States. So, can anyone start their own business?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Does the government decide, who gets hired where and how much everyone's going to make? Actually, they do decide.
Besides minimum wage laws.
Right. Besides minimum wage laws, right. And then what's communism as a review?
The government controls the economy.
Right.
It's more of a centralized economic system based upon government institutions.
Exactly. And everyone, no matter what job you have, gets paid the same. Right? Are you okay?
It just sounds scary.
Yeah, I would agree. So these are pretty opposite policies, and the problem is that they both believe in the bottom of their heart that their policy is the best way. Communists believe that way, and the United States believes that way as well. And both wanted to apply their policy on Germany because at the end of World War II, you know, they were occupying Germany, and the rest of the world, they wanted the rest of the world to follow in their footsteps as well. So instead of this just being a United States-USSR conflict, the whole world is now involved, and people have to, you know, choose sides. If they're going to be communist or they're going to be capitalist. It's this huge conflict that is spreading now throughout the entire world. And Stalin especially believes that the policies were, as it says, irreconcilable, and that war was inevitable until communism was triumphant over capitalism. Stalin, he's pretty sure about his beliefs and about how successful communism is going to be.
Seems like it.
Would you like to read this?
Sure. Roosevelt clearly felt no need to put us in the picture. He could have done it at Yalta. He could simply have told me the atom bomb was going through its experimental states. We were supposed to be allies.
So this is a quote from Joseph Stalin after the Potsdam Conference, which is where Truman told Stalin about the atomic bomb. How does Stalin feel towards Roosevelt?
Felt like he's been betrayed by Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of not in the loop with him.
Yeah, yeah. So this is just a quote to emphasize what we've been talking about already with this rift that creates the Cold War. Okay, so the next concept we're going to talk about is containment. Do you have any idea what that means? Just the word containment?
Well, I just think like a container, like holds stuff in, keeps it from falling out.
That's exactly right. So what do you think the United States wants to contain?
Russia. USSR.
Russia? USSR? They want to contain the country, or they want to contain its policies?
Probably its policies.
Probably its policies. Probably communism, right? And so George F. Keenan's long telegram, he basically discovered this. He was, studying about USSR and what they wanted, and he decided that USSR was going to expand, and they wanted communist ideas to expand throughout the world. And so its influence had to be contained, or else all of these countries would fall. And this is what this domino theory is about, is these countries falling. So when you have all these dominoes lined up, and you tip the first one, what happens to the rest of the dominoes?
They all fall down.
Right. So the same idea applies to communism. They think that if one country falls to communism, then all the other ones around it are going to fall. Until all of these countries are falling to communism, even though the United States believes that that's not the right way to do things. It's immoral, you know? Okay, so what's America's reaction to this? So let's look at some of these. These are propaganda posters, and I think we can gather a lot of how America reacted from this by this Cold War in these posters. So what does this first one say? Anyone? Tanner, yes.
Is this tomorrow, America under communism? You just want me to read it, or you want me to?
Yeah, just read it out loud.
America under communism.
Is this tomorrow? Now, what do you see here? What's happening?
Well, the American flag is engulfed in flames, and then it looks like some dudes are beating up some other people.
Yeah.
They look like they're Americans being beat up, or I don't know. Can't really tell.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. So they're saying, is this tomorrow? If we let communism take over the world, and eventually the United States will fall as well, and will be hurt, and America and it's all of its ideas will fall. And so what I kind of got from this first one is that America felt under a constant threat. Like they always had to prepare themselves and do something, or else communism would reach them. Now what about this one? Anyone? Yes, thank you very much.
It says, "Stop communism, it's everybody's job."
Okay.
And on his sword it says democracy, on his hat it says Juan.
Yeah. So what do you think this is saying? And this symbol right here, this is the symbol for communism.
Okay.
So it's everybody's job. And this isn't an American, right?
Obviously not.
So,
well, it could be, but he's kind of standing on what seems to be a foreign country.
Right, right. So is it just